Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. The halls of Chancellor Industries had a different sound now. For years, the building had echoed with the calm, steady authority of Nikki Newman, her heels clicking across the marble floors as executives scrambled to keep up. Before that, it had carried the indomitable presence of Jill Foster Abbott. But today, as sunlight spilled through the towering windows and reflected against polished steel and glass, there was a restless energy in the air. Because Billy Abbott was back. He stood alone in the CEO office staring out at Genoa City. The view hadn't changed, the skyline still shimmered, traffic still crawled below, but the weight on his shoulders felt heavier than ever before. This wasn't just a title. This was redemption. Billy adjusted his tie and ran a hand through his hair, trying to ignore the doubts whispering at the edges of his mind. He had been underestimated before, written off, labeled reckless, impulsive, incapable of steering a company without crashing it into the ground. But this time was different. This time he wasn't chasing revenge, he wasn't trying to outmaneuver Victor Newman for sport, he wasn't driven by ego. He was driven by purpose. Still, purpose didn't eliminate reality. Chancellor Industries was fragile. The aftermath of corporate wars, betrayals, and shifting alliances had left the company exposed. The board was cautious. Investors were watching closely. One wrong move and Billy wouldn't just embarrass himself, he'd validate every critic who had ever called him unfit. He needed stability. He needed strategy. He needed someone he could trust. And in Genoa City, trust was a rare commodity. Billy turned from the window and walked to his desk. His phone buzzed, snapping him from his thoughts. He glanced at the screen and hesitated before answering. "Hey," he said, softening slightly. On the other end, Lauren Fenmore exhaled warmly. "I thought I'd check in. First official week as CEO, how does it feel?" He leaned back in his chair, like I just volunteered to juggle flaming swords. Lauren chuckled, "That's Billy Abbott for you, you never do anything halfway." Her voice carried the calm assurance he had always admired. Lauren wasn't just a businesswoman, she was composed, intelligent, and razor-sharp beneath her polished exterior. She had built Fenmore into a luxury powerhouse. She knew branding, she knew negotiation, she knew survival. And she knew him. "How Jill?" Billy asked quietly. There was a brief pause. "She's stable," Lauren replied. "Tired but stable, she's grateful you stepped up." That mattered more than Billy let on. Jill wasn't just his mother, she was a force of nature, a woman who had clawed her way to the top and refused to stay down. Knowing she trusted him with Chancellor meant everything. "Good," Billy murmured, "tell her I'll make her proud." "I already did," Lauren replied gently. Silence settled between them, comfortable yet charged with unspoken thoughts. Finally, Billy cleared his throat. "Actually, there's something I wanted to talk to you about." "Oh," Lauren's tone shifted, curious. He hesitated. This wasn't easy for him. Asking for help had never come naturally, but this wasn't about pride. "I need someone," he admitted, "someone I can trust, someone who knows business inside and out, someone who can help me steady the ship while I get my footing." Lauren didn't speak immediately. "You're not asking me to join Chancellor full-time," she said slowly. "No," Billy replied quickly. "I know you have Fenmore's, I wouldn't dream of pulling you away from that. I could use you, part-time, interim, advisory, however you want to frame it." He exhaled, "I trust you, your family, and you're brilliant." Lauren closed her eyes briefly, absorbing the weight of his words. Family? For most of Billy's life he hadn't known Lauren was his aunt. The revelation that they shared a father had come later, reshaping old memories. But even before that she had always been there, at holidays, celebrations, crises, a constant presence. And now he was asking her to step into the center of a brewing storm. "Billy," she began carefully, "you know what this means, right?" He did. Her husband, Michael Baldwin, worked closely with Victor Newman, and Nikki, former CEO of Chancellor, was one of Lauren's closest friends. If she agreed to help Billy, she wouldn't just be consulting, she'd be choosing a side. "I'm not asking you to betray anyone," Billy said quietly. "I just need guidance, strategy, a sounding board." Lauren moved toward the window of her own office at Fenmore's, looking out at the bustling street below. She had worked too hard to build her empire to risk it recklessly. But she also knew Victor's history, the way he had gone after Jabot, the ruthless maneuvering, the stolen AI software from Kane Ashby through Philly's Summers, the dismantling of Arabesque, the attempts to tighten his grip on every rival in Genoa City. Victor losing ground hadn't exactly broken her heart. "Let me think about it," she said finally. Billy nodded, though she couldn't see him. "That's all I'm asking." After they hung up, Lauren remained by the window, her reflection staring back at her. She loved Nikki, she respected Michael's loyalty to Victor, but Billy was blood, and he wasn't asking for war. He was asking for help. Across town, Nikki sat in the Newman living room, a glass of sparkling water untouched in her hand. The weight of recent upheavals still lingered. Losing control of Chancellor had strung, even if she understood the board's reasoning. When Lauren stopped by later that afternoon, Nikki sensed something was different. "You're distracted," Nikki observed gently. Lauren offered a small smile. "Billy asked me to help him." Nikki's fingers tightened slightly around her glass. "Help him how?" "Advisory, temporary." Silence filled the room. "I see," Nikki said. Lauren stepped closer. "This isn't about choosing sides." "It never is," Nikki replied softly, "until it is." Meanwhile, at the Newman ranch, Victor stood before the fireplace, hands clasped behind his back. Michael sat across from him, reviewing documents. "Billy Abbott won't last," Victor declared confidently. "He never does." Michael's gaze flickered. "He might surprise you." Victor's eyes narrowed. "Not if I have anything to say about it." And in that moment, the lines of battle began to redraw themselves across Genoa City. Billy spent the evening reviewing financial projections, market analyses, and board memos. He needed to modernize, to innovate, to prove Chancellor wasn't just surviving, it was evolving. His phone buzzed again. "Lauren." "I'll do it," she said without preamble, "on one condition." Billy sat up straighter. "Name it." "This stays clean, transparent, no underhanded tactics, no revenge missions. I will not be part of another corporate bloodbath." A slow smile spread across Billy's face. "Deal." He didn't realize then how complicated that promise would become. Because in Genoa City, clean rarely stayed clean. And Victor Newman never played fair. Lauren's first day stepping into Chancellor Industries felt surreal. The boardroom doors opened and conversations quieted. Executives exchanged glances. Word had traveled quickly. Lauren Fenmore, luxury mogul, respected strategist, was advising Billy Abbott. Some saw it as a stabilizing move. Others saw it as escalation. Billy greeted her with a grateful smile, ready to dive in. "Always," she replied smoothly. The meeting was intense: financial restructuring, brand repositioning, expansion into tech partnerships. Lauren dissected proposals with precision, her feedback sharp but constructive. Billy watched her command the room effortlessly. This was exactly why he had called her. Afterward, alone in his office, he exhaled. "You just saved me from 3 disastrous decisions." Lauren arched a brow. "You would have figured it out." "Maybe," he admitted, "but I don't have the luxury of maybe." Across town, Nikki received confirmation of Lauren's involvement. Though she maintained composure publicly, privately she felt conflicted. At Crimson Lights, she confronted Lauren gently. "I just wish you had talked to me first." Lauren's expression softened. "I didn't want to put you in an awkward position." "You already have," Nikki replied quietly. Meanwhile, Michael's tension with Victor intensified. "You knew Lauren might get involved," Victor said coolly. Michael remained composed. "She makes her own decisions." Victor studied him. "Just make sure her decisions don't interfere with mine." The warning hung in the air. Days turned into weeks and Chancellor began to show signs of renewed strength. Stock stabilized, investor confidence improved, Lauren's influence was undeniable. But whispers grew louder. Was she helping Billy out of loyalty, out of rivalry with Victor, or both? One evening, as Billy and Lauren reviewed projections, he leaned back thoughtfully. "You ever regret getting involved?" She considered the question carefully. "I regret that it has to be this complicated," she admitted, "but I don't regret helping family." He smiled faintly. "You know Victor going to make a move." I expect nothing less, she replied. And Victor did. Subtle pressure on shared vendors, strategic rumors, quiet boardroom maneuvering designed to destabilize confidence in Billy's leadership. Lauren saw the signs immediately. He's testing you, she warned. Billy's jaw tightened, then we passed the test. Instead of retaliating recklessly, Billy listened. He followed Lauren's measured strategies: transparent communication, strong partnerships, clean execution. For once, he wasn't reacting emotionally. He was leading. At the Newman ranch, Victor watched reports come in. Chancellor wasn't faltering. Interesting. Back at home, Lauren faced Michael across their dining table. Are we okay? She asked softly. Michael reached for her hand. We're stronger than business wars, just be careful. She nodded, because she knew how easily lines blurred in Genoa City. As weeks passed, tensions slowly eased. Nikki, though still wary, saw that Lauren hadn't used her position to attack. Victor, though displeased, respected strength when he saw it. And Billy. He grew into the roles. One evening he stood again at the office window, the city glowing below. You don't need me as much anymore, Lauren said quietly from behind him. He turned, maybe not, but I'll always want you on my side. She smiled, you don't need me to hold the reins anymore, you've got this. And she was right. Billy had asked for help not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. In a town ruled by power and pride, that alone set him apart. As Lauren stepped back into her own empire at Fenmore's, she carried with her a renewed understanding. Loyalty didn't always mean choosing sides. Sometimes it meant steadying the ones you love long enough for them to stand on their own. Chancellor Industries stood stronger. Billy stood steadier. Victor watched more carefully. And Genoa City, as always, waited for the next move.